Welcome in then to the latest edition of Extra Time. Thank you very much for persevering with us.
I tried to say unsalvageable there.
There you go, you got it.
I know, but I didn't get it when we were live.
Well, we're still live now.
But we were live.
Okay.
And out of desperation to try and get some inspiration at the end of the show, I froze.
All right then, welcome into Extra Time.
Do you think I need a haircut?
Yes, you need a haircut. I don't think we won't talk about my underwear, which dominated Extra Time yesterday, which is quite interesting.
And you were not on?
Ooh. No. Kay was talking about when she lived with me and how my underwear was around the house. Wow, I don't know how else you're supposed to dry it. Frank Leboeuf is with us.
Sight, that is it.
How's this, Don Hutchison?
Well, I've seen your desk.
No, but she said no.
I've seen your desk. It's a mess. There's stuff everywhere. Yes. No underwear.
Yeah, but Craig, but you take things to the most extreme.
No, I don't. I'm just tidy.
No, you're obsessed about tidying.
No, just tidy.
No, you're obsessed.
Not obsessed.
Level of obsession, definitely.
I'm not. Clean your table up. Freaking papers. I hate papers.
Okay, Frank. Poaching the question from yesterday. During your playing days, what was your best strength and your worst weakness?
My best strength was that the fact that I was able to anticipate many things, like a pass from somebody, so I was able to cover a little bit earlier than some others will do. That was a strength for me because I was feeling the game, and that was a plus for me. My weakness. My physical condition. I think I wasn't strong enough physically. I would have loved to play in the midfield zone and as a midfielder, but I think my lungs and my heart wasn't strong enough to cope with the situation. So I had to take a breath in the middle of the game to make sure I could carry on, but I wasn't physically strong enough, muscle-wise, but also fitness-wise.
He's definitely one of his strengths, as we've seen today, is a World Cup.
Oh yes, if you didn't see, Frank has got Denmark against Canada in the semi-final of the World Cup.
And if that's not got you flying to Qatar, I don't know what is. I've got my name in already.
And then Denmark to beat Brazil in the final.
We'll see.
Hey, we will, Frank.
We'll see.
Unpredictability.
Denmark beat. Excuse me, but Denmark beat France in a qualification. Away from home and at home, twice.
There you are.
And you all put France winning the World Cup.
No. Nobody but France win the World Cup.
No, we had them in the final.
Everyone had Brazil beat them in the final.
Playing the final,
yes.
yeah.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
I think France getting to the final is slightly less controversial than Denmark winning it.
Wait, but if Denmark wins it now, Frank is going to be loving it.
Well, the thing is,
genius.
Frank, if Denmark wins it,
they're going to take the Little Mermaid out of the rock, and I'm going to be at the place of the Little Mermaid. That would be me.
Frank, if Denmark wins this and Canada gets to the semi-finals and Denmark wins this, you need to get on a flight straight away over here and get in our boss's office.
Get some money on it, Frank.
Yeah,
get some money on the door and say, I'm a genius.
Yep.
I will.
Telling you.
Don, what was your strength, your weakness as a player?
Weakness, 100% no pace, Dan, whatsoever.
Right. Okay.
But I'd like to think, I hope Craig might agree with this, but I'd like to think my football brain and vision, because I had no pace and I had to problem solve and I had to play so many different positions. I'd like to think I had a decent football brain.
Here you are. You don't need Craig to validate that. That's fine.
No, but he's my teammate. No, he's my teammate. He might disagree. He might go.
Yeah, but it's difficult for you boys to give each other compliments. It gets awkward.
I think Don and I were about as quick as each other. Put it that way.
Right. What was your strength, Craig Burley?
Scoring goals from midfield. At one point. Until Brownie put me at right wing back for Scotland. It's freaking impossible from that position.
Dan, you should have seen him. You should have seen him when Bruni played him right wing back. Oh, the toys came out the pram. Oh, he was high maintenance.
Oh, brilliant.
How can you score the amount of goals I did from the middle of the park and he puts you at wing back?
He didn't score that many goals.
Shut up. Right, move on.
Because at one time, Craig, your delivery was better than David Beckham's.
There we go.
Listen, who am I to argue, Don? Who am I to argue?
Yeah.
That was just one of Craig Brown's many quotes.
Is that what he said? Your delivery was better than David Beckham's?
Yeah, and he was correct. Who whipped that ball in against Belgium after the overlap? Right, anyway, move on.
Oh my goodness, look at this.
That's out Frank's weakness.
What's that?
Couldn't shut up.
Oh, but sometimes that helps, doesn't it? Cheer everyone on. So if you were better than Beckham, how come he went to Real Madrid and you went to Derby?
I think, what?
How come you went to Derby and he went to Real Madrid?
Because he had a better agent. Clearly, I'm not buying a football team in Major League Soccer. I'm thinking about it. I've tipped the piggy bank up.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Is there anything in there?
Got my eye on Columbus. I don't know why I said that. I just did. You know Frank's best strength?
Go on.
No, I'm being serious.
What is it? Humility. Humility.
No.
Humility. Predicting World Cup brackets.
Yeah. Frank Leboeuf, World. No. Passing. He'll tell you this. Not many better. Passing the ball out. Long passes.
Right.
Raking diagonals from the back.
Brilliant.
There you go.
Oh, I like it.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Oh, I like it. Nice. No, it's nice when you're nice to each other.
But as Rio Ferdinand said, couldn't defend.
Oh, yeah, Rio Ferdinand
had a go at you.
Yeah, Frank saying he couldn't defend.
True.
Had a go at you.
There you go.
True.
Don.
Best freaking wing back in the world I was at one point. Freaking running up and down, right wing. I could have killed him.
How many times did you play in that position for him?
About 28 or 30.
Did you? Quite a while then.
Yeah.
I thought you'd have gone, no, I'm injured, I'm not coming.
I see. See. You've just totally wrong impression.
Oh, yeah?
Country.
Yeah, country. Who got more caps, you or Don, for Scotland? Don, how many caps do you get?
26. Craig would have got more.
Seriously, I don't understand why Don was so late on the scene because
They were desperate. They thought he was English. Many.
Tell you what,
I'm being serious.
How many caps, Craig?
46.
How many caps, Craig?
46.
Oh.
I tell you one another, Craig, Bruni's favourites as well, playing Croatia away, Dan. He said to me before the game, I might have told you this, he said to me before the game, can you do me a job tonight? And I've gone, yeah, go on. He went, can you man-mark someone? And I've gone, never man-marked anyone in my life. I went, but how hard can it be? And he went, go and man-mark Prozoneski for me.
Oh, Don.
Tore me to shreds.
OK, Don, which player easily got under your skin during your playing days? And what do they do to get under there?
It would have been someone like Robbie Savage, like the sort of pest. The sort of pest that just sort of around your ankles wouldn't leave you alone. That sort of player that was just constantly sort of nipping away at you and jabbing away at you. That sort of player.
And would you react, Don?
Yeah, I'd just two-foot him.
Yeah. Tell you who else was a pest, Don. I don't know. Frank, you might have played against him, Frank. I don't know. Don, you definitely would have. He was a pest because of his verbals. Carlton Palmer.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What a guy.
No.
What sort of thing?
What a
I
guy.
can't say, obviously.
Non-stop, all game.
Right. Just having a go at you.
Just talking about...
Where's your teeth? You'll know David Beckham.
Yeah.
No, he was the other way,
Got more
Dan.
caps for Scotland.
Dan, he was more... Carlton was more about not having a go at Craig or me or Frank. He'd be more saying how good he was. Like, he'd come up to you on the pitch and go... I can't believe I've only got 20 caps for England. I should have 100 caps for England.
Brilliant.
Like one of them. Yeah.
God,
and he goes...
I bet if he did his DNA test, he's got some French in him.
Yeah, and he'll say to you as well, he'll say, because he was brilliant, he'll say to you, I can't be that bad of a player. I'm on £50,000 a week.
Brilliant.
How much you want? And you're on like a grand.
Value.
To be fair to the big man, he had a lot of lines.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, he
All
did.
different ones, but he never stopped.
Right, and did it get
he did.
annoying in the end? Did it work?
The player that Don mentioned before that was a bit more annoying.
Right, Robbie Savage. Frank, what about you? Harry Kewell, obviously, you kicked because you hated him.
No, I think when I played against Beckham, because he was very young and he was talking all the time, on the field, and he was like, when you see Fernandes right now always complaining about everything, and sometimes, complaining to the ref, complaining to the opponent, going on the floor and everything. And even with the national team, I remember having a kind of a discussion, but a tough discussion with Owen, and Beckham coming in the middle like he's going to be the lawyer of Owen. And I think, stop playing the sheriff, get out of here. And it was a lot like that, being in the middle of something, but even if it was none of his business. it was a pain. It was kind of a pain in the neck at some point. Yeah.
How high was his voice when he was younger, Frank?
How old I was?
No, because he's got a high-pitched voice anyway. If he's there when he was young with you playing. OK, if Newcastle...
You wouldn't believe the verbals that used to go on. It's brilliant.
It must have been fun, though.
Amazing.
I remember when I went to... I told you this, but I wouldn't mention certain players. When I went to Derby, and Dean Sturridge was up front at the time, and Dean, at one point in his career, was before he's got hamstring injuries, was flying, absolutely flying. He was going to make a big move, but he was fast. Oh, he could run. And we'd be playing games, wouldn't matter who it'd be, and he'd be stood by the centre halves, and I'd be in the middle of the park going, "Hey, Dino, you know the big lump behind you? He's as slow as a week in the jail." Just giving it all that. He can't run. Look at him.
Right.
Giving it all, and it's obviously an earshot.
Yes, yeah.
Oh my God, like steam coming out their ears, like almost like just moving them out the way to try.
That must have been fun, man.
It is. It's just part of it.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll put it in behind, the next time it drops in the middle of the park, I'll put it in behind, just run after it, because this guy, he can't even move. I don't know how he's even playing the game at this level, given it all that, you know what I mean? But you do know, if the ball bounces around in the middle of the park, that same guy,
your mouth's
as
gonna
Don
get in
said,
trouble.
is coming for a 2-footer. So you have to be prepared.
Let's talk Newcastle, Don. If they sign some good players in January window...
Sign good players.
What percentage chance they finish in the top 4?
We had, sort of similar question. You asked me this a couple of days back. I don't think they'll get there, Dan. As much as I want them to get there, I still think there's some bigger teams that'll come into form. I mean, who would have had Newcastle ahead of Liverpool? They'll come back. United will be in the mix. Tottenham, Chelsea, City, Arsenal. There's too many big teams. I don't think they can do it in terms of this January window. There might be 1 or 2 coming in. But certainly if they can get European football, I mean, dear me, I mean, they could sign some unbelievable players in the summer.
Due to so many elite teams, Craig, in the Europa League, would it spark more interest among fans and amongst you?
I am banned on Thursdays from either watching Europa League or working.
Well, maybe because of the number of big teams that are there might draw you in.
No, that's a very elitist view, Dan.
Right, OK.
It's a blanket ban.
Right.
In the Europa League. No. I mean, it's quite interesting once it gets to the latter stages. I mean, it's never going to be... It's just not going to have the gravitas of the Champions League, is it? But it is what it is. And, you know, I do agree the carrot that's been dangled for winning it, getting into the Champions League is a good one. But yeah, there are some big old units that are going to be playing in it this year. No, I'm not stretching to the conference.
OK. No.
That's a bit too much.
Frank, how do you think Mbappe would react if either Neymar or Messi won the World Cup?
Well, I think if Neymar wins the World Cup and maybe never come back to France because he's partying too much, you know, Mbappe could be happy. He could play on the left side. I don't know. It will depend on what France does. If Mbappe loses in final, as you all predicted against Brazil, I think he would be very upset, which is normal. But will he show it to the others? I don't know. I think he will have to keep it quiet. It's part of football, so you have to accept it.
What's Mr. Mbappe's state of mind at the moment? I mean, I've not.
Quiet. It's been a quiet
40 hours since I've been in. You never know what. I mean, are we going to see 3 twirls from him because Anthony did 2?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we will.
Twirls galore.
I don't know. You know, just get one-upmanship.
Craig, should Joao Felix force a move away from Atleti in January to save his career?
Joao Felix needs to move.
What club would be the best fit for him?
Well, 3 or 4 years ago, I would have said pretty much any. But it's been so inconsistent.
Talk about Newcastle, would that work?
I mean, they got Callum Wilson, they signed Chris Wood. I mean, it depends. I don't know. I mean, what would he can't continue under this manager at this club because it's just been too long. If it was 6 months and you give it a chance, but it's been, I don't know, 120 million or whatever it was, close to it, transfer to be a sub when you're so talented. So I don't know the club, but
City.
Absolutely, he needs to.
He's not going to go City, Don, is he?
He won't go
Listen,
City.
well, Bernardo Silva might be on the move in the summer, and I've said this for years. I don't know how you guys see Joao Felix, but I honestly think Pep could turn him into one of the best in the world.
Yeah, but Bernardo Silva, Don, as you well know, is easily a guy who can play comfortably in the middle of the park. I mean, he can play anywhere.
Yeah.
But plays
but
a
I think
bit. Joao Felix can't really do that, can he?
Now,
No, I wonder if he might be on the move, Bernardo Silva. He made noises last summer, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh no,
Don sources.
I agree that.
No.
Harry Kane as well,
So if Joao Felix leaves, will Gio Simeone to Atleti be a good fit? Would any footballer look forward to playing under their father? Is it too complicated? Now, your uncle, of course, was a famous coach, George Burley.
Yeah, I played under him.
Did you play under him in what context? Where were you?
Well, he was a manager. I was.
Where was that?
Derby.
How was that?
When things got a little bit smelly at the end and certain managers had to leave.
Yes.
Into that.
Yeah.
He, out of a puff of smoke, got the job.
Okay.
On an interim basis for 3 months.
Oh, I didn't
Till the end of the
remember
season.
that.
No, you learn something every day.
There you go.
Not very interesting.
And how was
But
that?
you asked.
Did you call him Uncle George instead of Gaffer?
By the age I was then, his name was George, not Uncle.
It's not Uncle George anymore. No. What age does he stop being an uncle and become a George?
1920.
How was that?
That was all right.
The dynamic
because
was okay?
Because he tried to sign me, he tried to coax me into going to Ipswich on many occasions.
Right.
And I never did it because Ipswich were in the Premier League at the time. But I never did it because it's a lovely place, but as you well know, and most people, it's a bit of a pony ride to get there.
Right.
So it was just a wee bit out of the way, and I never ever went. And then he appeared at Derby for 3 months. I left at the end of that year, and he got the job full time.
Now, when you were a pundit, obviously he was in charge of Scotland.
He got the Scotland job.
How was that dynamic?
As you would expect.
Did you call him Uncle?
I still had the big knives out sharpened. Yeah, whenever Scotland got beat, I'd go, "Oh, Uncle George." It's so bad.
And did he ever say to you, "Come on, we're family"?
No.
No. He knew the game.
Well, he knows the game. And I remember I told you this. I went to a few years later. I went to one of his son's weddings down in Suffolk, and he's got 3 kids, and one of the 2 brothers, Andrew, his boy, said to me, "We just wondered when you would stick the knife in and turn it."
Right.
And he smiled at me, and I thought, well, do you know, people would have looked at me in a poorer light had I curried him favour.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't difficult because Scotland were pretty poor at the time.
Okay.
So it wasn't like Scotland were doing great and you could go, well, he's done
Right.
Not all his fault. Some of it his fault, some of it playing squad. They weren't a very good team.
Right.
And so there was no other angle to take from my perspective. Otherwise, I'd have been seen as trying to give. So why would I give him any favour over Walter Smith or Gordon Strachan? And so that's
just the professional that you are.
I was paid to do a job, Daniel, whether
Yes.
it was my uncle.
Right.
Oh, by the way, I don't think. I think it was a little bit awkward for. I think it was more awkward for my mum and dad and my grandparents.
Okay, obviously.
I think it was more awkward for them.
Now, did your dad ever have a word and say, "Come on"?
No, he would never have done that.
No.
Never. He would never. But I think it was a wee bit more awkward for him if I was pounding George with his sledgehammer for a Scotland performance of defeat. It was more awkward for the other parts of the family than it was for him or me.
Yeah.
It wasn't awkward for me.
No, well, you didn't care. You were just
Correct.
doing your job.
Well, I mean, he's.
My dad taught me at school. That was awkward. Like in that kind of.
Is that why you're the way you are?
Probably, yes. I think that's fair.
That's why you've turned out the way. So,
Yeah.
what did the other kids say?
Oh, I just got bullied, basically.
Yeah.
That was it. I had to call him Mr. Thomas and all this. Oh,
I can only imagine what you got in the playground.
Oh my God, it's horrible, horrible.
And did he give? But even when you had say you had a very average exam result,
right?
Did he notch it up a little bit?
No. But here's the thing, you see, because I was quite good at school, but then I did something. Then I remembered I did something bad in my coursework, and he didn't speak to me for like a week. He was so angry that I'd done it wrong.
It's not a good dynamic, that is it?
It wasn't great. No, it wasn't very productive. And now look at it.
There's a way around that. I would have had a way
at school.
Correct.
Yes. Don, how would you fancy having a relative coach you?
No, stay away from it. What's the point? Yeah, it's what I mean. What you no, it's just going to be.
How much input would you have? Because your son obviously plays professionally. Like, how much guidance do you give him? How much help do you give him, or do you wait for him to ask you?
No, so my sort of unwritten law, my guidance towards my lad when he was about 11 or 12, when he was playing regular, I said to him, I will never ever lie to you, and if you're rubbish, I will tell you you're rubbish, and if you're amazing, I'll tell you you're amazing. There's no way I would watch you and just like say, just like to build his confidence up. He was terrible. Go, oh, you're amazing today. You're amazing today. I'd never do that. Now, actually, since he signed for Larne over in Ireland, I've not actually spoken to him now. I've not had a conversation with him for, I reckon, about 2 or 3 weeks, because our relationship is, and it stems from my relationship with my dad. When I signed for Liverpool, very quickly, I lived with Jamie Redknapp, and he would phone his dad, Harry, 2 or 3 times a day. And I'd say, what are you phoning your dad for 2 or 3 times a day? Like, what do you talk about? Anyway, talking. And he goes, when do you talk to your dad? And I goes, don't know, once a month. And he goes, why? And I went, well, if I ring my dad, he's going to think there's a problem. If I don't ring him, he knows I'm absolutely fine. So I've told Max this story, so we've got the same relationship. So
Poor Max.
If I don't phone him, he doesn't phone me.
Don't ring me, Max, unless there's something wrong.
And if you need money,
that's
don't ring me.
That's how we are.
Wait, once I'm the same. I'm kind of similar, Don. When I went to London and when I was living in England and pretty much away from I was 16. I'm just not great communicating on the phone.
Right.
No.
If I'm in the room, it's fine. I'll talk and all that, but
right.
I don't understand. Fair play to Jamie and others. You're ringing your dad every couple of times.
Stevie's a big guy on the phone. Stevie calls everybody like, all the time.
What else do you think he's going to do? He sat in that house. He sat in that house in Connecticut 24/7. He's got nothing else to do. Hope he's watching this.
Frank, family.
No, I wouldn't like it. I had my father taughting me everything for 10 years. He was my coach when I was young, and it was nice. But when we were losing games, I mean, that was a nightmare. I grown up in a small village, and I was saying to my teammates, who are my friends at school, say, losing a game is a nightmare, because you got to go back to your place where the coach is coming back with me, and he's gonna, for the whole weekend, put my head like that because we lost the game. But I remember, and my father was so passionate that when I signed my first professional contract, I called him before. I said, I'm on my way to sign my first contract, and he said, okay, fine. And I didn't call him after. So he woke me up at 6 a.m. in the morning, saying, well, you didn't call me. Did you sign or not? I said, well, I told you that I'm going to sign, I said, no, because I'm telling you, if you don't want to talk to me, we don't talk forever. But you just signed the contract, you don't call your father? Are you crazy? I said, well, calm down. And I tell you, the guy was very passionate. So I said, well, hopefully he's not my coach. I'm so happy.
Wow. And then Frank, do I remember you telling me your son played for a bit? Played at some level, but then didn't continue? Like, how were you with that dynamic?
He played for Nîmes. He was at the academy of Nîmes for like 6 months. Then he said, Dad, I think I have a problem with my back. Then he said, I have a problem with my ankle. I said, okay, come back to me and we're going to do something else. Well, I think he wasn't ready for that. He told me after, he said, well, no, that was a strange world for me. He wasn't educated to be comfortable in that world. So it's okay.
Don, do you know the story when Craig went to watch his kid play?
No.
No, tell me.
God, I love this story.
The oldest?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He said, don't come and watch. He was playing for the school, and he said to me and his mother, don't come and watch us play. Don't come and watch us. I don't want you to come and watch. It's embarrassing. Kids sometimes think it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
I don't know, what could we possibly do that embarrasses kids? Anyway, the wife and I went, we can't not go. We're going to have to go. So we went along, Don, and there was other parents there. And we tried to hide out the way a little bit, and he spotted us, right? And he took himself and went and stood at the corner flag.
No.
And just stood there with his arms crossed. Because we turned up.
How old was he?
I'm guessing he was about. I think he was about 10.
Oh, brilliant.
Where do you think he gets that stubborn streak from?
And the coach was shouting at him, going, look, and he's
that's
going... Told him, weird family. Told him not to come. Told him not to come. I said to him when I left the house, don't come. I was like, me and the wife, we were trying to hide behind cars and that, and he freaking saw us. He went, that was it.
Brilliant.
Actually, he was playing against Doncaster
Crazy.
Rovers this morning in some sort of match for a local team.
Oh, nice.
And apparently he impressed the Doncaster Rovers coach.
Wow.
They lost 4-1 and my oldest scored.
Oh, wow.
It runs, so I'm glad to say he's taken after me. He came off half an hour injured.
Yes.
So
how's his teeth? Are
runs
they
in the
still
family.
there?
His teeth are okay, but apparently his hamstring is in pieces.
Oh.
But he did score.
Okay.
And he did impress the Doncaster manager. I don't know what division they're in now. However, he is 27.
Right.
Time's running out.
Well,
if he'd only got his head down.
If only when he was 10.
Yes.
If he only went and stood in the freaking corner of the field and sulked. Kids, man, what are you going to do?
Do you want to do the last? Are we doing the last one, Pete, or do you want to finish? I feel like we've done this for a long time. You want to keep going?
Why don't we do something?
And we can finish. Pete? What's the 30 for 30 about the guy who just is obsessed about his kid becoming a quarterback? And it's brilliant. If you haven't seen it, it's fantastic. It's
They're telling you now.
It's what's it called? Todd Marinovich. If you haven't seen it, it's brilliant. Really good. Dad is just obsessed.
Like forcing them.
Yes, yeah, and just kind of the story of it all and about how they fell out and now they're back, together. It's a really, really good 30 for 30.
I'm not into. I've never been into like trying to force you. I'm a great believer in.
I can't imagine your dad forcing you. Like, did he?
It's not forcing. I presume the guys were the same. It was just full of enjoyment when you were 8, 9, 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
You wanted to play. Your parents didn't have to force you. But there are some parents that do try and push the kids into certain sports. And I've certainly never been like that with mine. They don't play, but they did at some point, and then they took their interest somewhere else. I think you've got to get that feeling for something that you want to do it.
Right.
If you don't really want to do it, because as certainly Don will know from going through apprenticeships in the UK, there's hundreds of kids that are really talented that go through all these apprenticeships, certainly back in the day, all these big clubs and small clubs, but yet only a handful of them make it because some are really talented but they don't really want it.
Right.
And you can't push a kid to, you can force them all the time, but if they don't want to do it on their own, it's just never going to happen.
I had that talent, I just didn't have quite the desire to make.
Well, you had your dad in this classroom.
My dad teach me the Industrial Revolution.
You know, all the kids giving you 2 fingers and all that, going, he's getting all the... he's getting all the good treatment.
The Marinovich Project is what it's called.
Did your dad give you lines?
Watch it.
Did you remember lines? Did you ever get lines at school?
No, like The Simpsons.
You had to write the same thing like 100 times.
No,
you imagine nowadays you could just do something to do that for you.
What, edit, copy, paste?
Oh yeah.
That's what you need to do.
Well, you had to write it all out.
Just sort that out.
Anyway, can I just say it's been the most enjoyable show today? I just want to say that.
Wait, are you ill? What's wrong? You got an announcement to make?
It's a little bit too long, but it's nice.
No, that's it. It's midnight now, isn't it? Well, no, it's 1 o'clock in the morning where you are, Frank. Midnight with you, Don.
He's got some electricity to
Hey, good news, though, because the clocks go back in Europe, don't they, this weekend? So you're going to be an hour earlier with us.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Oh, they're an hour earlier.
They're an hour earlier.
And we're an hour later.
Well, yeah, in theory, yes. Yeah, so the game's going to be an hour
And
late.
Sunday,
we're late for the Real Sociedad game.
we're starting at 3?
3:30.
Kickoff's 3:30.
No, kickoff's at 4. We do the preview at 3:30.
I've been lied to again.
So we'll be live at 6. Good. You needed all that.
My boss said you'll be home early Sunday. He lied.
Did he?
No.
No. That's it. We're done. ESPN FC then be back on your screens. Busy weekend right across the board. We'll be keeping you up to date with everything you need to know. Be sure to stay with us. Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.